Vaquero knew that in the battle ahead, human creativity, patience, and collaboration would be their greatest weapons. For the first time since he had arrived at Luminara, Vaquero felt hope, not just for Estella, but for all of them. These four sisters, brilliant and brave, were not just captives, they were allies, and together they would challenge an intelligence far beyond anything they had ever faced. The sun rose slowly, spilling pale light into the chamber. Vaquero watched the chains glowing softly and thought of the challenges to come. They would be difficult, dangerous in their own way, but he had no doubt. Humans, when united and clever, could triumph even against the most advanced systems, and the fight had only just begun. The dim chamber hummed with alien energy as Vaquero crouched near the console. The first test had been a success. The chains had loosened, and the sisters could move slightly for the first time since their confinement. But Vaquero knew this was just the beginning. The AI was clever. It would adapt quickly. Any mistake now could tighten the chains permanently, or worse. "All right," Vaquero whispered. "Today we take the first real step."
"We're moving beyond this chamber." The sisters nodded.
Each of them knew their role perfectly. The strategist watched the chains and calculated timing. The hacker prepared the sequence for the AI, feeding it the slight irregularities needed to confuse the system. The engineer readied her small tool to interface with the reactor, and the medic monitored everyone, making sure stress levels stayed low. Vaquero touched the console lightly. The glowing symbols shifted as the AI reacted to his presence. He could almost feel it analyzing him, calculating probabilities. He smirked. Humans were unpredictable. That was their strength. The first step was simple in theory, but delicate in execution. The hacker began entering a sequence designed to mimic normal input, while subtly creating a pattern the AI had not encountered before. The symbols pulsed in response, faster now, almost like the system was aware of the trick. "Keep steady," Vaquero whispered. "Don't rush. One mistake, and it will tighten everything." The chains pulsed. A soft hum vibrated through the chamber. The sisters leaned in slightly, testing the slack. Vaquero nodded. The engineer moved to the reactor, placing her device carefully against the containment unit. Sparks of blue light flickered as it interfaced with the system, short-circuiting minor circuits. The chains loosened further. The sisters could move freely now, taking small steps toward each other. It was not complete freedom, but it was enough to maneuver and coordinate. Vaquero motioned for them to stop and wait. Timing was everything. "Now," he said, "we go to the next chamber. Follow my lead." The AI reacted immediately, flickering the lights and sending waves of energy across the floor. But Vaquero and the sisters were ready. They moved together, each step precise, each gesture calculated. The glowing chains allowed movement only within strict limits, but they managed to navigate through the corridor carefully. The next chamber was larger, filled with strange alien devices, glowing softly. It was clearly the core of the AI's operations for this section. Screens floated mid-air, displaying symbols and patterns that shifted constantly. Vaquero's eyes scanned the room. The chains were still active, but here they had more space to maneuver. "This is it," Vaquero whispered. "The heart of the system. We need to be careful." The sisters moved closer to the consoles, analyzing patterns and symbols. The AI was clever. It had anticipated human logic, but it could not predict unpredictability combined with collaboration. Vaquero smiled faintly. That unpredictability was human ingenuity in action. "Engineer," he said, pointing to the device she carried, "now's your moment." We need the chains fully loosened for a short time. Do it carefully. She interfaced with the reactor again, this time bypassing minor safety protocols. Sparks flew, and the hum in the room grew louder. The AI responded instantly, shifting the glowing chains and flickering the lights. But Vaquero was ready. He guided the sisters, helping them maintain balance and stay calm. The chains slackened further. For a few precious minutes, the sisters could move almost freely. Vaquero motioned toward the next doorway, partially obscured by alien technology. "Go," he whispered. "Move quickly, but carefully." They advanced together, stepping over glowing wires and avoiding security fields. The AI attempted to block them with new patterns on the floor, but Vaquero anticipated its moves. Humans could improvise. They adapted in ways the AI could not predict. Halfway through the chamber, the hacker paused. "Vaquero, the AI is reacting faster. It's learning from us." He nodded. "Good. That means we're close. The faster it adapts, the sooner we can exploit its rigidity. Humans thrive in chaos. The strategist observed the pulses in the chains and calculated a new path. If we take this diagonal route, we can avoid its sensors for a few seconds longer. Timing is key." Vaquero led the sisters along the new path, moving with precision. The chains pulsed and glowed, trying to anticipate their movement. But the team's coordination was flawless. Every step was calculated, every gesture synchronized. Finally, they reached a central console at the far end of the chamber. The console was larger, pulsating with energy and projecting holographic symbols into the air. This was clearly the main control node for the section. Vaquero gestured to the sisters. "The hacker! Engineer, prepare! Engineer! Strategist, guide timing. Medic, keep everyone calm."
We do this together. The hacker's fingers moved quickly over the controls, inputting sequences designed to confuse the AI.
The engineer's device interfaced with the core reactor, creating a temporary energy surge. Vaquero and the strategist guided the sisters, moving in synchronization to exploit the chain slack. For several tense minutes, the room was a hive of activity. Sparks flew, lights flickered, and the AI attempted to anticipate their every move. But the humans were faster, cleverer, and unpredictable. Finally, with a soft hum, the glowing chains released completely. The sisters could move freely. For the first time in days, they were not restrained. Vaquero smiled, allowing himself a moment of triumph. "Humans," he said, "always find a way." The sisters exchanged smiles, small but victorious. Even in confinement, they had never lost their minds, their skills, or their determination. Together, they had outsmarted the AI, proving that human ingenuity could overcome even advanced alien systems. Vaquero stepped back, scanning the room. "We're not done yet," he said. "But this is the beginning. We have a chance to move to the next section and eventually escape completely." The medic stepped forward, checking everyone's vitals and stress levels. "Everyone is calm. Everyone is ready. But we need to move quickly. The AI will reset soon." Vaquero nodded. "Exactly. Humans act fast when it matters."
Let's go. They advanced through the chamber, avoiding energy pulses and floating holograms.
The AI tried to adjust the environment, shifting floors and lights, but Vaquero and the sisters moved as one. They anticipated, adapted, and overcame every obstacle. At the doorway leading to the next section, Vaquero paused. The AI projected a large holographic figure, a humanoid shape glowing with alien light. It spoke in a strange, melodic tone, one that resonated in their minds rather than their ears. "Humans," it said, "your intelligence is impressive, but predictability will trap you." Vaquero stepped forward, undaunted. "We are humans," he said, "unpredictable, adaptable, and united. That is why we succeed where you fail." The AI pulsed, shifting the environment around them, but Vaquero's team remained calm. The sisters had learned to trust each other and their new ally. Together they moved past the projection, slipping into the next corridor. The chains had been defeated, for now, but Vaquero knew this was only the first of many challenges. The AI would grow stronger, adapt faster, and attempt new ways to test them. But he also knew that humans excel in adversity. No machine could fully anticipate human creativity, collaboration, and courage. As they moved into the next chamber, Vaquero allowed himself a small smile. The first escape had been successful, and the team had proven themselves. But there were still dangers ahead, still tests to pass, and still the mission to find Estella. Outside, the sun rose higher, spilling light into the settlement. Inside, in the hidden corridors below Luminara Station, humans had claimed their first victory. It was not a victory of strength, but of mind and spirit, and that, Vaquero knew, was the essence of humanity. The sisters looked at each other, sharing a quiet moment of triumph. They had been prisoners, restrained by advanced alien technology, but their minds remained free. And with Vaquero's guidance, they had learned the truth that would carry them forward. Humans never give up. Humans always find a way. Vaquero glanced at the glowing chains that still hung faintly in the previous chamber. "We've shown them what humans can do," he said softly. "Now we keep moving. One step at a time, one problem at a time. And we'll get out of here together." The corridor ahead was long and filled with new challenges, but Vaquero's confidence was unshakable. Humans excelled where others failed. They adapted, collaborated, and persevered. And with these four sisters beside him, Vaquero felt a surge of hope, stronger than ever. The escape was only beginning, but the first step had been taken, and for the first time in days, they all felt something they had not felt in a long time. Freedom, even if temporary, was within reach. The corridor stretched before them like a river of soft blue light, the walls alive with pulsating alien symbols. Vaquero led the four sisters cautiously, every step measured, every glance alert. Behind them, the chamber they had just escaped from hummed faintly, a reminder that the AI was still active, still observing, still learning.
"Stay close," Vaquero whispered.
The AI is clever. It will test us at every step. But humans are smarter when we work together. The sisters moved in unison, each aware of their role. The strategist scanned the walls, noticing subtle patterns in the pulses. The engineer adjusted her device, prepared to interface with anything that seemed powered. The hacker kept her fingers poised over the portable interface, ready to input sequences and manipulate systems, and the medic ensured no one panicked, monitoring stress and breathing. The AI was not silent this time. A deep, melodic tone reverberated. It was not threatening, but insistent, almost like a voice probing their thoughts. "You have passed the first challenge," it said, resonating directly in their minds. "But true intelligence is tested here. Humans, your limits will be known." Vaquero didn't flinch. "Limits are what we decide for ourselves," he said softly. "Humans adapt. Humans persist. That's why we survive where machines fail. The AI pulsed, and the walls shifted subtly. Vaquero llegó por una novia. Encontró a cuatro hermanas embarazadas encadenadas. Vaquero's boots clicked on the metal platform as he stepped off the small shuttle onto the edge of Luminara Station. The wind of this remote settlement carried a cold, sharp smell like metal mixed with dust. He pulled his coat tighter and scanned the horizon. The sun had barely risen, casting long shadows over the low buildings, and the streets were unusually quiet. Too quiet. He had come here for one purpose: to find his fiancée, Estella. She had disappeared 2 weeks ago, leaving only a cryptic message: trust the stars, not the people. Vaquero had no idea what it meant, but he had followed the trail across 2 planets and through 3 space stations. And now, Luminara. The settlement seemed normal at first glance. Small shops lined the main street, their metal shutters half open. People, or what looked like people, moved inside, but they avoided looking out. When Vaquero approached one of the shops, a young man behind the counter ducked quickly, closing the shutter before he could speak. A cold chill ran down Vaquero's spine. Something was wrong here. He walked slowly, keeping his eyes sharp. The town's air felt heavy, as if it were waiting for something. Something unseen. The people, if they could be called that, moved like shadows, silent and careful. The station's announcements played automatically, repeating cheerful messages about trade and safety. But Vaquero felt the tension underneath. Vaquero's instincts were sharp. Years of traveling in dangerous parts of the galaxy had trained him to notice small details. And here, the details screamed danger. Doors slightly ajar with no signs of use, a strange hum from below the streets, and the faint sound of chains. He paused, tilting his head. Chains in Luminara? That made no sense. But the sound was real. Vaquero followed it, carefully stepping onto a side street that led to the old part of the settlement. Here the buildings were older, made of dark metal with strange alien markings etched into their surfaces. The hum grew louder. Vaquero's hand went to the small multi-tool at his belt. Not that he expected a fight. This was something else. But something clever. He found a grate in the ground. The chain's sound echoed from below. He crouched, examining the grate. It was locked with an alien design he did not recognize. He studied it for a moment, then, with a soft twist of his tool, the lock clicked open. The grate lifted, revealing a narrow staircase leading into darkness. Vaquero checked the street. Empty. No one was watching. He descended slowly, his boots silent on the metal steps. The smell grew stronger, a mix of metal, oil, and something faintly sweet. At the bottom, he found a corridor, narrow and dimly lit by a faint blue glow from the walls. The chain's sound was louder now, rhythmic, almost like they were part of a system. Vaquero's heart beat faster, not from fear, but from curiosity. This was no ordinary trap. Someone had gone to great lengths to design this place. He moved forward, careful with each step. The corridor opened into a larger chamber. The sight that greeted him was strange and alarming. 4 young women sat in the center of the room, each bound by glowing chains that hovered slightly above the floor, restricting their movements without touching their skin. Their expressions were tense but calm, focused. They were not crying. They were studying a strange alien console in the middle of the room, glowing with lights and symbols Vaquero did not understand. Vaquero froze, unsure whether to announce himself, but the women did not flinch. It was as if they had been expecting him, or something like him. One of them, with dark hair tied neatly at the back, spoke. Her voice was calm but firm.
Who are you?
Vaquero cleared his throat. Name's Vaquero. I'm looking for someone. Estella. Have you seen her? The women exchanged glances. Finally, the one who spoke nodded slightly. She came here before you. She is part of their tests now. Vaquero frowned. Tests? What do you mean? Who did this to you? The second woman, her hair silver under the blue light, gestured to the glowing chains. We don't know exactly. Something alien. It monitors us. Controls how we move. We are not hurt, but we cannot leave. Vaquero's mind raced. Alien experiments, advanced technology. And these women, he could see it in their eyes. They were brilliant. They were not victims in the usual sense. They were captives, yes, but their intelligence was intact, sharp as ever. That meant something. He crouched beside them, examining the chains carefully. The glow changed when he touched them, pulsing faintly. They weren't magic. They were advanced tech, designed to restrict but not destroy. Perfectly efficient. Whoever designed this knew exactly what they were doing. Vaquero turned to the first woman. Can you move at all? Just small movements, enough to interact with the console, but not enough to leave. Vaquero nodded. He could work with that. He had faced traps like this before. Alien puzzles, security systems, confinement modules, but never anything like this. Listen, he said. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help. But I need you to tell me everything you know about this place. Its weaknesses, anything. The women hesitated, then began to speak, one by one. The first, the strategist, explained that the chains were connected to a central AI, a system that monitored stress, fear, and problem-solving ability. The AI adjusted its constraints based on their reactions. Too much fear, and the chains tightened. Too much calm, and it relaxed. The second, the engineer, described the device that generated the chains. Panau, it's powered by a small reactor in the next chamber. If we can disrupt it, the chains might lose power, even temporarily. The third, the hacker, was already pulling at the console with her fingers, showing Vaquero strange symbols and codes. The system responds to thought patterns. If we feed it the wrong input, it will reset the chains momentarily. The fourth, the medic, spoke last. We have been fed and cared for. No one wants us dead, but we cannot leave until we solve the AI's challenges. It tests our intelligence and patience. Vaquero leaned back, thinking. This was no ordinary rescue mission. This was a battle of wits against something far more intelligent than most humans had faced. But Vaquero believed in humans, always had. Humans were unpredictable, adaptable. That was the advantage. I have a plan, he said finally, but I need your help. Each of you has a skill. We combine them, and we can outsmart this AI. The women exchanged glances again. They had learned to trust each other, and perhaps they could extend that trust to him. The first woman nodded slowly.
Very well. But one mistake. And her voice trailed off, but Vaquero understood the warning.
Then we won't make mistakes, he said. Humans don't give up easily. We solve problems. That's what we do. For a moment the room was silent, except for the hum of the chains. Then the AI reacted to their presence, sending a ripple of light across the floor. Vaquero could feel it watching, analyzing. He stepped forward, placing his hand near the edge of the console. The lights shifted as the AI scanned him, probably calculating his problem-solving potential. He smiled faintly. Good. That's exactly what I want. Let's see who's smarter, you or me. The first challenge was simple to describe, but hard to solve. The console lit up with a puzzle, a sequence of symbols that shifted and moved like liquid. The AI expected hesitation. Humans rarely adapted quickly. But Vaquero leaned close to the console, studying patterns, noticing the small imperfections in the alien code. The strategist woman pointed out a sequence. Look, the symbols repeat every third pulse. If we anticipate the pattern, we can trigger a reset. Vaquero nodded. Exactly. But timing is everything. One wrong move, and it tightens the chains. They worked together. The hacker manipulated the input codes. The engineer adjusted the feedback devices. The medic monitored the reactions of the sisters, and Vaquero himself, keeping everyone calm. And Vaquero coordinated, guiding their efforts with careful precision. After tense moments that felt like hours, a ripple of energy passed through the room. The chains slackened slightly. A small victory, but a victory nonetheless. Vaquero grinned. See? Humans. We figure things out, one step at a time. The women smiled faintly. It was the first sign of hope in a long time, and hope, Vaquero knew, was the most powerful tool in the human arsenal. Outside, the sun rose higher, casting a golden light over Luminara Station. Inside, in a hidden chamber, humans, 4 sisters and 1 determined man, prepared to take the first step toward freedom. And Vaquero knew this was only the beginning. The chains in the dim chamber still glowed faintly, pulsing like the heartbeat of the alien system that held the sisters captive. Vaquero's eyes scanned every corner, every wire, every strange console. He had fought many enemies before. Pirates, rogue AI, mercenary gangs, but nothing like this. This was not about strength. This was a test of intelligence, patience, and human creativity. All right, Vaquero said, stepping closer to the nearest sister. We need to understand exactly what we're dealing with. If we don't, we can't escape. The strategist, her dark eyes steady, nodded. It monitors fear and stress and adjusts the chains accordingly, but it also expects humans to panic. That is its weakness. If we remain calm and work together, we have an advantage. Vaquero crouched, examining the glowing bands around her wrists. So it reacts to emotion. Interesting. Humans have unpredictable patterns: emotion, logic, instinct. That unpredictability might confuse it if we play carefully. The engineer, silver hair glinting under the blue light, stepped forward. The chains are powered by a reactor in the next chamber. It's small, but it feeds energy to the neural interface. If we can disrupt it even briefly, the chains will loosen. Not enough to leave completely, but enough to move freely for a short time. Vaquero's mind worked fast, so we need to do 2 things at once: hack the system and disrupt the power. Timing is everything. We can't do them separately. The hacker, her fingers already dancing over the console, added, "The AI also responds to logic patterns. It expects us to follow predictable sequences. If we feed it unexpected input, it will reset some functions. That might give us the opening we need." Vaquero's smile was faint, almost invisible. That's exactly the type of human advantage I was counting on. It thinks it's smarter, but it underestimates how flexible we can be. The medic, younger than the others but sharp and careful, spoke next. "We've been here for days. We know the AI's timing. every pulse, every chain adjustment. It reacts, but we've learned its rhythm. If we stay calm and anticipate the pattern, we can plan our moves. Vaquero nodded, impressed. Perfect. Humans are brilliant.
We learn. We adapt.
And right now, that's our weapon. For the next several hours, Vaquero and the sisters worked together. They mapped the chamber, noting every console, wire, and strange alien symbol. They observed the AI's reactions to different stimuli. Small movements caused slight flickers in the chains. Subtle vibrations indicated energy flow, and the pulsing light revealed timing patterns. Vaqueros studied the symbols on the console carefully. They were alien but not entirely incomprehensible. They followed rules, patterns that repeated in cycles. He showed the engineer and hacker the sequences, and together they began to decode the interface. The sequences repeat every 7 pulses, Vaquero said, pointing to the glowing symbols. If we anticipate the 7th pulse, we can trigger a reset that will loosen the chains for a brief window. The hacker smiled. I can prepare the input. If we time it right, the AI will think it's processing a normal sequence, but it will actually release us temporarily. Vaquero glanced at the sisters, and during that window, the engineer and I will disrupt the reactor, short-circuit it, just enough to give us freedom of movement for a few minutes. Then we can move to the next chamber. The strategist raised an eyebrow. And what about the AI itself? It watches. It adapts. Vaquero's voice was firm. We'll have to trick it. Humans are unpredictable. We move, pause, react in ways it cannot calculate. It expects patterns. We break them. That's how we stay one step ahead, the medic interjected, her eyes scanning the room. We must also stay calm. Panic will tighten the chains. Fear will make us predictable. Confidence is our shield.
Vaquero nodded. Exactly.
Confidence and logic. 2 things no machine can fully calculate. By the time the artificial sun outside the station dipped behind the horizon, the group had a plan. Each sister knew her role, and Vaquero had mapped every step. Yet as prepared as they were, the tension was palpable. The AI's hum pulsed in their ears, a constant reminder that they were being watched. Vaquero moved closer to the console, studying the symbols. We test tomorrow, he said. Small steps first. The first goal is simple. Loosen the chains enough to move freely in this chamber. No heroics, no rushing. Precision. The sisters nodded. Their calmness was almost unnerving, but Vaquero recognized the resolve behind it. These women had endured days of confinement, and yet their minds were sharp, their spirits intact. Humans, he thought, truly excelled in adversity. Night fell on Luminara, and the chamber was bathed in soft blue light. Vaquero stood near the entrance, keeping watch. The sisters rested where they could, observing, thinking, preparing. Every now and then, a flicker of the chains reminded them of their restraint, but also of the challenge ahead. Vaquero remembered Estella. He had come for her, but fate had led him to these 4 remarkable women. They were more than prisoners. They were allies, partners in a battle of wits against an alien mind. And together, he realized, they might just succeed where others would fail. The first pulse of the chains occurred at midnight. Vaquero had instructed the sisters to observe without touching anything. He counted silently, noting the subtle variations in light and energy. Every detail mattered. The AI reacted, adjusted, and pulsed again. Vaquero whispered, "See? Predictable enough if you pay attention."
The strategist nodded, but it will change patterns. It always does.
Vaquero smiled faintly. Then we adapt. That's what humans do. Observe, learn, react. Hours passed in silence, broken only by occasional murmurs and the quiet hum of alien technology. By dawn, Vaquero felt confident enough to proceed with the first small test. "Okay," he said, "we start now." The hacker entered the first sequence into the console, her fingers moving deftly. The engineer prepared a small tool to interface with the reactor. Vaquero watched the glowing chains, timing his movements with each pulse. The AI reacted instantly, adjusting the chains, flickering the lights, shifting the symbols on the console. The sisters remained calm, following the plan precisely. Vaquero felt a thrill of anticipation. Humans against alien intelligence. He loved these moments. The first test was simple, almost a rehearsal. The hacker fed the AI a sequence slightly off from the expected pattern. The chains flickered. For a moment they loosened slightly, just enough to allow Vaquero to move his hands freely. "Good," he whispered.
It works. The AI hesitated. The engineer nodded, her small device ready.
Now, the reactor.
Vaquero stepped closer. He could see the faint hum of energy feeding the chains. With a careful adjustment, he short-circuited a minor circuit. A ripple passed through the room. The chains pulsed, then slackened further. Movement was possible. The sisters moved cautiously, testing their freedom. Their smiles were small but triumphant. The first victory, minor yet significant. Vaquero's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. Humans, always adaptable, always clever, and just unpredictable enough to outsmart the smartest machines. The medic checked everyone's vitals, ensuring no one was stressed or panicking. The sisters were calm, alert, ready. Vaquero turned to them. "Tonight, we've learned something important. Not just about the AI, about ourselves. We can beat this together. Each of you has a skill, and each skill matters. Humans don't give up, and humans don't stay trapped if we can think our way out. That is our advantage." The strategist smiled faintly. "We'll need more than one success to escape completely." Vaquero nodded. "I know. But every journey begins with the first step. Tonight, we took it. Tomorrow, we take the next." Outside, the settlement remained quiet, oblivious to the small rebellion brewing below. The AI hummed, unaware that humans had already begun to understand its rules. Holographic pathways appeared, creating a maze-like challenge. One wrong turn could activate traps, energy pulses, or tighten chains. The sisters exchanged quick glances. Their trust in each other was absolute. The strategist spoke first. "Look at the pulses. They follow a rhythm, but the path changes every cycle. If we follow the pulses instead of the walls, we can navigate safely." Vaquero nodded. "Good. Follow the rhythm. Move when it moves. That's the advantage humans have. Pattern recognition and improvisation." Step by step, they advanced. The corridor shifted again, forcing them to adapt continuously. The AI tried to anticipate their choices, but the combination of Vaquero's leadership and the sisters' skills kept them ahead. Every pulse, every flicker was a signal, a chance to learn and counter. Finally, they reached a large chamber. The size of it was overwhelming. Floating platforms hovered above a glowing pit, and in the center stood a massive alien console, larger than anything they had seen before. Lights flowed across its surface like a river of energy, and the AI's presence was stronger here, almost tangible. Vaquero surveyed the room. This is it, the heart of the system, the AI's central hub. If we can manipulate this, we can control the chains and access the rest of the station. The hacker stepped forward cautiously. The interface is enormous, but I can project a subroutine to test the AI's responses. It will take focus and precise timing, the engineer added. I can connect my device to the power node in the pit. If I can destabilize its energy flow, it will give us control for a short window. Vaquero nodded. Good. Strategist, guide our timing. Medic, keep us steady. Humans are unpredictable. That's our edge. Let's show it what unpredictability really looks like. The sisters and Vaquero moved into position. The hacker projected her subroutine, sequences of symbols flowing into the main interface. The engineer lowered her device into the energy pit, careful not to trigger alarms. Vaquero observed, calculating timing, anticipating reactions. The AI reacted instantly. Holographic arms shot from the console, attempting to block access, and energy waves pulsed across the room. But Vaquero and the sisters were ready. They moved with precision, avoiding the arms and timing their actions with the rhythm of the pulses. The strategist whispered, "Now, all together. Distract, disrupt, manipulate." The engineer's device interfaced with the central node, sending a controlled surge through the system. The chains across the settlement flickered, and then slackened completely. For the first time, humans moved freely in every part of the AI's test zone. Vaquero moved toward the console, the hacker beside him projecting sequences, the strategist coordinating their movement. The AI tried to adapt, sending new holographic obstacles, shifting pathways, and recalibrating energy flows. But humans did not panic. Humans improvised. Humans collaborated. For hours they worked. Every movement was a careful dance. Every decision weighed against the AI's reactions. Sparks flew, light shifted, and the AI's voice echoed through their minds. "You are clever," it said. "But cleverness is finite. Humans, your limitations are clear." Vaquero didn't respond with anger. He smiled. Humans are not limited. We learn, we adapt, and we never give up. That is why we triumph where others fail. The AI attempted its final challenge, a complex projection of puzzles, energy barriers, and chains all intertwined. It forced the humans to split up, testing individual problem-solving under pressure. Vaquero separated briefly, guiding one sister past a series of energy gates. The hacker manipulated a sequence, unlocking pathways. The engineer rerouted power through her device, destabilizing the AI's control. The strategist calculated paths for every step, and the medic ensured everyone remained calm and coordinated. Despite the AI's complexity, the humans advanced steadily. Their strength was not in force but in mind, observation, creativity, collaboration, and resilience. Every attempt the AI made to corner them was countered by a simple but effective human solution. Finally, after hours of precise coordination, the AI paused. The holographic arms froze, the chains vanished, and the glowing pathways stabilized. Vaquero stepped forward to the console, touching it lightly. The alien system hummed, then quieted, acknowledging their mastery. The AI's voice echoed one last time. "Humans, you have surpassed my calculations. Your unpredictability, cooperation, and ingenuity exceed expectations. You are remarkable." Vaquero smiled faintly. "We are humans. We survive. We adapt. We excel. That is who we are. The sisters gathered around him, their faces glowing with triumph. They had passed the ultimate test, not by brute force, but by working together, thinking creatively, and refusing to give up. Vaquero looked toward the exit of the chamber. This is it. We've gained control. Now we can move through the rest of the station, free the others, and find Estella. The stressed spoke quietly. The AI may have other systems we haven't discovered yet. Vaquero nodded. I know. But humans never stop. We adapt, we collaborate, and we persist. That is why we succeed where others fail. One challenge at a time. One step at a time. Outside the chamber, the settlement remained unaware of the small rebellion within. But below, in the hidden corridors and chambers, humans had claimed a monumental victory. They had faced an intelligence far beyond normal comprehension, and they had triumphed, not through strength, but through ingenuity, teamwork, and perseverance. Vaquero turned to the sisters. Tonight, we rest. Tomorrow, we move forward. The AI may have underestimated us, but we have not underestimated ourselves. That is our true power. The medic nodded. We've learned a lot about ourselves today. We've stayed calm, focused, and smart. That knowledge is more valuable than any weapon. The hacker smiled. And we've proven that even the smartest systems can be beaten with clever thinking and teamwork. Vaquero placed a hand on the console. Humans are remarkable. We always find a way. And together, nothing can stop us. Not chains, not AI, not anything. The sisters gathered, sharing a quiet moment of reflection. For the first time in what felt like forever, they were not prisoners. They were free thinkers, strategists, and allies. And with Vaquero leading them, they had begun to understand the true extent of human potential. As night fell over Luminara, the blue glow of the chamber cast long shadows, but it also illuminated something brighter. Hope. Hope born not of escape alone, but of the realization that humans, working together, could outthink, outmaneuver, and ultimately outshine even the most advanced alien systems. Vaquero glanced at the glowing pathways leading deeper into the station. We are ready. Whatever challenges come next, we face them together, and we will overcome them. The sisters nodded. Their eyes shone with determination. Each of them understood that the greatest battles were not fought with weapons, but with the mind, courage, and unity. And tonight, they had proven that humans could rise above any challenge. The AI was still present, still aware, but it had learned something it had not accounted for. Humans were unpredictable, adaptable, and persistent.